Friend, we made it. 2023 has been a year in life and business around here. I don't know about you, but the thrilling highs and deep lows mean that I am leaving 2023 behind with gratitude and a whole lot of respect. Woo! It tested a lot of people. How about you? Did 2023 test or bless your life and business? It was a mixed bag for me. I don't usually do a year in review, but this one calls for it. That's why in this episode, the last of season 2, I'm sharing 3 celebrations and 3 big learnings from this past year. Perhaps there'll be something useful in there for you. I hope so. Let's start with a celebration. You may already know that I have ADHD. I was diagnosed 2 years ago, and I finally understand why focus can sometimes be difficult, unless I'm really interested in what I'm doing. Any activity that has delayed gratification can be tough, like starting a podcast. If you're not an influencer, it can be a little grueling to share content that takes time to create and produce and get very little feedback, at least for a while. Consistency is a word that gives me hives, and it's right up there with structure and routine as my ADHD's least favorite words in the English language. That is why I'm celebrating that this episode of the BrandUp Podcast is the 14th episode I have published in a row without missing a week. 14 episodes and no gaps. That is a celebration for me. Creating a podcast I love and offering you something of value is a huge win. Anyone who listens is a bonus on top of that, so thank you for being here. A few highlights from this season for me include hearing Sarah Kedge redefine consistency for neurodivergent founders in episode 19. Hers is a definition I can definitely get behind, and it's worth listening to. In episode 8, Helen Perry reminded us that algorithm pleasing is a losing game and that providing true value is what wins hearts and minds. Most importantly, being useful to the people who follow you and have subscribed to your mailing list is when you'll get the sale. And that's why you're in business, right? Other favorite episodes include my conversation with Sarah Sproul about her journey from muddled messenger to media maven. Adela Hussein reminding us that pitching the media is actually doing them a favor and helping them keep their jobs. And how about Ashanti Bentildew bucking the trend and using old school networking to grow a thriving global business? Every conversation in this series is useful, interesting, and a joy to listen to. It certainly was to create. If you haven't listened to all of the episodes that I've just mentioned, skip back and catch up. Your business will be happy you did, I promise. Let's move on to a big lesson and another celebration. For various personal reasons, I haven't had the energy to do all the marketing things on social media. That has felt challenging. How can I teach brand strategy and messaging and marketing if I'm not pulling out all the stops and consistently walking my talk? The reality? I have been next level tired. My energy has gone into my family, our health, and keeping our human and animal pack moving forward. If you have multiple living beings to care for, with however many legs they may or may not have, you'll know that sometimes it can be a lot. Thankfully, I think my pack is moving into a new season. All indicators suggest that 2024 should be smoother on the personal front, at least. I'm taking this holiday season to catch my breath, and I'm giving myself some grace for not doing all the launches and lives that I'd planned in 2023 or 2022 for that matter. What I did do in 2023 is what drove the bulk of my business this year. You ready? I met people at my co-working space. I'm going to say that again because something made a noise. What I did do in 2023 is what drove the bulk of my business this year. Ready? I met humans at my co-working space in the flesh. I met interesting people, talked about my work, and bing, bam, boom, landed a few very big projects with exciting teams. Teams that had budgets and needed my expertise. Being in physical space with people and co-creating brand strategy and messaging with them, it was the balm I didn't know my soul and my brain needed. God, I've missed people. So for 2024, I'm committing to being at my co-working space more often. I live in Geneva, and meeting strangers can be challenging here given the local culture is quite reserved. That's taken some getting used to for my friendly Canadian side, but I've come to appreciate the discretion and respect of personal space that's part of Swiss culture. So to foster more connection and drive business, I'll be initiating new meetings, offering new training opportunities, and growing my business mainly offline. My mind needs less time on screens and more time feeling other humans vibing across a table or a room. More in person in 2024. I wonder if you found the same. Have you been in space with other humans this year? Did it thrill you, or are you happiest working on your own? It's a balance I haven't yet got right, but I'm excited to see where this will all lead in the new year. On to the second big lesson from this year. Social media has burnt me out. Months spent in the scroll hole, and I do mean cumulative months, have done a real number on my mental health. It's too much for my dopamine-seeking brain to be plugged into a phone and also try to create. I can consume and I don't see the time go by, but creating? There really isn't much juice left for that when you're ingesting all the time. I didn't start out this way. In the height of the pandemic, I had a cracking start at launching my loud and clear brand strategy and messaging program in early 2021. I launched again, a little less loudly, did well, and then ran out of steam. If you had told me then that almost 3 years later, I'd still be struggling to find a rhythm with social media that didn't burn me out, I wouldn't have believed you. But the truth is, I don't want to be on my phone. Changing social media demands do my head in. I don't want to become a pro video editor for this platform or an amazing graphic designer for that one. I want to talk with you. I want to speak to humans. I want to share my knowledge and learn from other smart people. Speaking into the void is often a one-way experience, and it doesn't feed me or make me want to come back. Maybe you found the same thing. What I do want is to reach people around the world and share my message. I want to talk about neurodivergence and how we could reimagine branding and brand messaging so that they work for our brains. Social media will definitely be part of that, but not the whole shebang. That's why going back to human connection is the way forward for me in 2024. I will still be online, but much more mindfully. I'm committing to consuming less. I'm going to declutter my feeds over the holidays, unfollow lots of people, and set strong limits on my app usage. I'll still create content, but it'll be more strategic, value-filled, and regular. Probably not frequent. I'm still me, but hopefully regular. At least that's the goal. I'll run an experiment for the first few months and see how I do. I might even keep you posted. As I spend less time on social media, I plan to spend more time collaborating. And that is the third joy I'm celebrating in 2023, collaboration. I love co-creating brand strategy and messaging with my clients. In fact, I love co-creating so much that I invited some of my favorite people to be my guests on this podcast. If you've listened to the whole of Series 2, you'll understand why it was super easy and fun for me to make these episodes. When you're talking to people whose work you respect and who you enjoy being with, co-creation is easy. I highly recommend co-creation for you in 2024, in whatever form it may take. It makes business fun and paves the way for new opportunities. One client I worked with over this past summer might become a business partner in a whole new venture. I'm going to do that again. One client I worked with over the summer may become a business partner in a whole new venture. I had lunch just yesterday with someone who's agreed to be my accountability buddy for new business development. We've decided to share leads and ideas and keep each other motivated to get new business rolling in. Local business, with people we can meet in person, in Geneva, or somewhere we can take the train to in Switzerland, or even beyond. It feels really potent and exciting. Being in physical space with somebody else who knows what I've committed to doing is also going to support my brain to stick with the program. In ADHD land, we call that body doubling, and it's worth its weight in gold. Whatever kind of business you run, a stream of new business leads is what will keep you afloat and maybe even growing. I hope so for you. The same applies to your mailing list, social media audience, and your network in general. If you nurture and serve your people, they'll stick around. They'll engage. That's what algorithms want, and it's what your mailing list provider wants too, to increase deliverability and keep those emails out of pesky spam. And that brings me to my third big uncomfortable lesson in 2023, and I'll be honest, in 2022 as well. The lesson around what happens to business when you stop growing your list and you stop showing up. In 2 words, not much. Remember what I said earlier about consistency? Well, the past year has been brilliant for me creating this podcast and sharing it with you and emailing my list about it. But that's pretty much where it stops. I've been super consistent on family support, but in business, it's been patchy at best. And recently, as I've gotten back into the habit of emailing and sharing this podcast, I've had to grapple with the silence that's been coming back. Weirdly, when you don't invite people to sign up to your newsletter or mailing list, new people, they don't, because they can't. And when you don't invite people to work with you through launches or through regular selling on email and your socials, surprise, surprise, they can't work with you. It feels uncomfortable and shameful to admit this to you. I'm a brand strategist, for crying out loud. I've done PR for decades. I'm a marketer through and through. And I am a human first. Getting up from 3 intensely difficult years on the personal front. 4, if you toss in the pandemic. So this new year and this transitional season will be all about forgiving myself for not walking my talk and finding sustainable, gentle ways to be consistent and impactful. My flavor of consistent in ways that work for my brain and my business. Because that's what I'm about, after all. I'm here to help you craft a powerful voice for your brand in ways that work for your brain. In the past couple of months, I've been figuring out how I can do that for myself. How does that sound? Maybe we can talk about it and do it together. It feels a little scary sharing what I've shared today, but perhaps it will be useful to you as you listen. Here's to a whole new season for both of us of showing up just enough in the right places and growing a business that nourishes us in every way. Because it's the only way it'll be sustainable, enjoyable, and profitable. And I'm here for that. I wish you all good things for 2024, and I hope 2023 has been good to you, dearest one. See you in season 3 in 2024.